Hello and welcome to the Podquest of Bread. Sorry it took me a few seconds to get on here. We were having some technical difficulties. Tonight I want to talk about promises, and I want to talk about town halls. For those that didn't know, tonight was supposed to be a second debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. A debate that was canceled or shifted to be virtual due to Donald Trump's diagnosis with COVID-19. And subsequently, Donald Trump backed out of. Then Joe Biden, in turn, said he would hold a town hall instead. And tonight turned into two dueling town halls. One with Joe Biden in Philadelphia on ABC, and one with Donald Trump in Miami on NBC. And these two town halls, they were extremely different. They were very stark in contrast. I watched both of them. I had to flip between the channels to keep up with both of them. And there's something that can be taken from this. The first thing I want to cover here is that these two town halls, the reason they were different was because one was talking about policy. One was talking about substantive things that they would like to do for this country. One was talking about actual plans, thought out, meticulously contemplated answers, things that will help, according to them. The other town hall was more of a way to peddle typical conspiracies. The other town hall was another way to peddle the misinformation that this particular candidate typically pushes forward. The other town hall was one where the candidate could be seen physically sweating, as if the questions that he was being pressed on and the answers he was being expected to give and he did not give were actually causing him to be nervous. One town hall, the candidate appeared calm, cool, and collected, as if they understood that they were handling their race correctly, as if they understood that they were doing things the way that they should. The other one, the candidate appeared frantic. He appeared very uncomfortable, and it felt like this was not how that candidate preferred to sell himself to the American people. Of course, the two town halls here, the calm, cool, and collected one was Joe Biden. And the one that the candidate appeared to be very unnerved, very nervous about was Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to focus on Donald Trump's town hall, really, because it really shows that he doesn't belong in the White House. It shows that he's unfit. For his sake, I hope the viewership on it was quite low, because it really showed how weak and frail he is when it comes to standing behind what he says. It really showed how weak he is at defending his narrative. See, Donald Trump, he succeeds when he can shut you down. He succeeds when he can interrupt you. He succeeds when he can beat you down with insults. He succeeds when he can skip and dodge questions, and because of the craziness that he creates in doing so, he avoids even having to jump back to answering that question. But in a town hall format, these things don't work. Throwing out random insults doesn't help you skip the question. Being frantic and disrupting the order of things does not help you skirt the question, because the person moderating the town hall has the luxury of only having to deal with you. And in such dealing with just you, they can always flip it back to the question. Now, some interesting things that I pulled out of the town hall all have some interesting relations to what's going on right now. Donald Trump praised QAnon supporters during the town hall and said masks don't matter. That's a dangerous narrative, but it's a narrative we've heard from Donald Trump. And praising QAnon, which is nothing short of a conspiracy theorist haven, a beehive of conspiracies. That's nothing new for Donald Trump. And the reason is because he just peddled a conspiracy that caused his press secretary to temporarily have her Twitter account suspended, that caused his Trump War Room Twitter account to be temporarily suspended. Conspiracies aren't new with this president. And peddling conspiracies out in the open, that's no problem for him. So, of course, he's going to praise QAnon. Because praising QAnon praises Q, and Q is a godlike, more of a messiah-like figure for Donald Trump's followers, his cult. See, he is the cult leader. He is the god in their eyes. But Q, this unknown figure, this supposed figure working from within the government to take out the deep state and help Donald Trump and also tell Donald Trump's supporters what's about to happen, who somehow has not been killed by the deep state. You understand where I'm going with this. This supposed figure is a messiah to these folks because Donald Trump acts and then Q explains through these mysterious little drops what Donald Trump's doing and what he's combating. See, Q, in their eyes, explains why Donald Trump might be erratic or Donald Trump might be acting the way he is. This isn't anything of shock. See, Donald Trump said masks are ineffective. He said that 85% of people who wear masks catch COVID. There's no substantive source to back this, except for conspiracy theories and conspiracy sites. How surprising. Another thing Donald Trump said, he said that he probably owes money to a foreign entity. I just think that really needs to be a key piece of the news cycle right now. With 19 days to go until the election, the president of the United States just admitted that he probably owes money to a foreign entity. I wonder why he's saying that. Maybe it's because his taxes are getting closer and closer to being released, because New York State is diving deeper and deeper into his finances. Are they going to dig up something that might link him to Russia? Does he owe Russia money? It's kind of funny because Russia just made another appearance in the 2020 campaign. And I'll talk about that in a second. But for Donald Trump, the president of the United States, to say that he probably owes a foreign entity money really begs the question this: who's he working for? Because owing a foreign entity money, that bears in mind the question of who your allegiance is to. Because I would imagine and suspect that your allegiance is to the people that you owe money to. Your allegiance is to that entity. Your allegiance is to keeping that entity happy. And when you happen to be in the most powerful position in the United States, where you can dictate what the United States does, owing a foreign entity money can come in handy. We all know Donald Trump's corrupt. This isn't about corruption. It's actually about national security. See, Donald Trump mysteriously ignored the fact that Russia was putting bounties on U.S. troops' heads in Afghanistan. Donald Trump has ignored a lot of things that Russia does. Donald Trump has been very careful to try and shift the narrative to the Ukraine, to Burisma, and to Hunter Biden. And the question is, why? It has always been, why? And Donald Trump lets it slip that he probably owes a foreign entity money. The dots are starting to connect. Donald Trump is seeking to retain power only so he can use what the office of the presidency gives him, which is a shield against legal issues. See, if Donald Trump wins in 2020 and Senate flips all blue and the House stays blue, this is going to be a key piece of their argument to impeach the president of the United States. And it's going to be a very valid argument. It's going to be an argument that's going to be very hard for House and Senate Republicans to ignore. And it's one that will seriously come back to haunt the President of the United States. Another thing that Donald Trump, and this is all in the conspiracy, he was pressed on why he retweeted to his 87 million followers a conspiracy theory that Joe Biden orchestrated to have SEAL Team 6 killed. Donald Trump tried to play it off. He tried to play it off that it was just a retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, as if it justifies it. It makes no sense. See, Donald Trump's trying to drag Obama and Hillary into this election, into a race that they're not even involved in, past an endorsement of Joe Biden. It's all a part of deflecting from his failure as president of the United States. To attempt to say that SEAL Team 6 didn't kill Osama bin Laden, or that his opponent tried to have SEAL Team 6 killed, that's his way of trying to cast a negative light on his opponent and keep the negative light off of him. Ignore the fact that Donald Trump has failed so bad that over 200,000 Americans are dead from COVID-19, and the numbers are increasing at an unbelievable rate. Ignore the fact that today at a campaign rally, Donald Trump admitted that he ordered an extrajudicial murder of an American citizen. Now, don't get me wrong, Obama did this. We honored the memory of him yesterday, where a young man was killed by a drone strike ordered by Obama. But Donald Trump claims to be better. Yet he ordered the extrajudicial killing of a man by the United States Marshals, a man who happened to be a very adamant anti-fascist activist, someone who was an anarchist, someone who acted in self-defense and shot and killed someone attacking him. Do you see a correlation between what they try and claim about the Kenosha shooter and what this guy actually did? A guy actually acted in self-defense. And because he was afraid for his life because of the rhetoric of the President of the United States, he went into hiding. And then the United States Marshals, as Donald Trump described it, moved in within 15 minutes and had the whole situation cleaned up. They didn't even want to arrest him. Those were his words. He admitted that the United States Marshals were not going in to arrest him. They had no interest in arresting this man. They did not announce their presence. The man did have a gun in his pants pocket, and he was shot to death. An American citizen who was afforded a right to a trial in front of a jury of his peers. He was denied that right. Donald Trump wants to deflect from it. And lastly, Donald Trump and his campaign and his secretary or press secretary and anyone else you can think of involved in his inner circle, they shared the New York Post's obviously fraudulent news article about Hunter Biden's Burisma emails. A post which was handed to Giuliani by what's suspected to be Russian intelligence sources that he met on a trip to the Ukraine. Giuliani, who the United States intelligence services warned the White House and Donald Trump may have been infiltrated by Russian assets. This falls back to the conspiracies I was talking about early. Donald Trump has no problem sharing conspiracy theories. Donald Trump is not acting in the interest of the United States. Donald Trump is not acting in the interest of anyone but himself and keeping himself out of jail and out of trouble. He opened up a can of worms for himself that probably would have not ever come up when he decided to walk or ride down the escalator in 2015, and he is now playing damage control to try to stay out of jail. He's a fascist. He only cares about himself. Tonight's town halls were a stark contrast between the two biggest candidates in the race. One who seems to be trying to put together policy for the American people to get out of COVID-19, and the other attempting to be reelected so that way he doesn't end up in jail. There's tons of candidates running. The choice is still yours. But for the love of God, do not vote for Donald Trump. Stay beautiful, humans.